Hey everybody. I'm just moving stuff over. I did notice do I have somehow gotten myself to where I have a bug on this animation page. And it was a bug that we had before that seems to have come back where when I make a change, the whole table updates, and when that table updates, it causes the table to lose focus. This is like, I don't know, it just keeps coming back. This is a weird one. But, anyways, I did make a countdown today, highlighting my new spotlight. So it goes three, two, and one. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely not like, I don't know, something that you would actually want to use in any place, but, it does definitely shows sort of some possibilities of things that can be done. Um, So, anyways, the bug, just to show you, is like if I change like this, like if I were to change um, Z to 2, or even if I move the mouse, if I see we lose the, now I can't type in there anymore because I've lost the focus. And historically, what has caused that is basically the table redrawing, um, because the data changed. And typically I don't want to update the table that is that this thing is rendering unless if I've made the change within the table itself. Um, and I know we've had this problem before, and I don't understand why it came back. But it's the kind of thing that happens. These sort of bugs that sort of keep coming back, are just very typical. And it's definitely going to probably be the next thing I do once I'm done with this service update. I don't think it would be related to the service update, or really, I can't see how it's even related to the lights changes, because it's a general, like, this is a mesh change. But anyways, so let's move on to the mission at hand. And basically, I think all that's really well, there's delete and update. Um, so I guess delete was probably going to be easier. So I guess I'll do, well, update doesn't look bad at all. Update. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I need to do lights, not meshes. Um, so basically, you notice the update mesh was pretty small. Yesterday, I had a lot of success with just copying the entire function over, and then just copying it into the service. And then kind of going line to line. So I know I don't want to do these updates to the animations or the signals in this service. Um, Definitely don't want to do that. And then these are now local. And then basically this is stuff that's specific to animation, so we don't want to do that here. And then we only want to do light stuff in the light. Um, we definitely don't want to be adding things to the scene from this guy. And then we do want this. So change spotlight or import from 3. We had a kind of a weird bug yesterday from that. Okay, we definitely don't want to do anything to do with the animation service in here. And this is now local. Again, we don't want to do anything with the scenes. Uh-oh. This this could be a problem. Um, Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to. Man, that's gonna be weird. All right, so we don't want to do this here, but we definitely want to do it in the um, ThreeJS service. And see, this is a perfect example of like how you can get to the point where you can't refactor. Um, I don't know exactly how this is going to be done because, see, I'm like deeply, I have a deep, what is the right word? Deep cohesion. Um, I'm deeply bound, right? This scenes is happening in here, but I would like to keep that separate. Um, and now I don't know if it's going to be possible to accomplish this. Okay, so we'll update the light. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove this out. We'll just see. We may have to bail from this effort. Um, let's just see what happens once we get over to the other side. See if something makes sense. Because the problem is that, see, I don't even need the old light anymore. I don't need any of this. So I guess it will be okay to do this over there um, because it won't actually try to update the screen until all of this code is done. But it seems like what I need to do is actually remove the light in the other, in the calling function over in the ThreeJS service. But that light, I'll remove it from the scene, which is what this is all about. But then I'll actually um, yeah, this is going to be interesting. But I'll actually create it over here. Okay, so we need to pull this in here. Point light. I need a blue one. I don't know why it's not giving me. We do know that we are pulling in a spotlight. I'm sure point light is over here from the same place. Point light. All right. All right. So that's fine. Well, we should. I don't know if we'll lose our animation at this point. Yeah, we did. I'm a little nervous on the ThreeJS side now. Okay, so we want to keep that. Want to keep that. We don't want to do this anymore. We definitely want to keep all this animation stuff over here. The light item name. So we definitely don't want to do anything like this over here. I'd say there's probably about a 30% chance that I'm going to just have to bail from this and restart. Okay, so we know we don't want this over here. And then so this is saying, hey, if I didn't get a light item, then add the target light object. And then update the, okay, so, this is a rough one. Okay, so I know we don't want this, any of this stuff. Over here. And then, okay, we don't want any of this. So then the big question mark is, okay, so the spotlight target gets added to the scene if it hasn't been added yet. And then the target's added. I see. And this is the problem with this half-baked targeting thing. I think we're going to want to do that over here. But instead of added to scene is true. And so instead of checking to see if we have an ID, we're just going to check to see if it's been added to the scene yet. So if it hasn't been added to the scene, then go ahead and add it to the scene from here. I think that actually might solve the issues. If light type is spotlight, it has been added, add it to the scene. That might actually work for us. Okay, so we definitely don't want to set the intensity. And then we don't, oh wait, if light is added, if the light item is added, then animation, okay, so we definitely don't want to, we want to do animation stuff over here. All right, new light is light service fine as supported lights. All right, what's going on here? What do we got going here? Some scenes, remove old light. Okay, so we definitely want to remove from the service. We want to do that over there. So let's go look back over at the light service. Service. Okay, back to here. Remove from list. Do I still, yeah, okay, so here, yeah, we're removing it from the list. So ID. We add the light. We get our new light, and we do that. Okay, this is making my head hurt. All right, so, okay, so we definitely remove it from the list over here. Okay. So over here I go to get the new light. Okay, so this is the light object. And I get the one that matches. Get the one that matches, and then I say, hey, if I find it and they're different, then the light item's previous light is ID, old light is equal to this one, which is a supported light, and remove it from the scene. Then I say, go ahead and add the light, which is okay. And then we say, the new light is, we go and retrieve the new light out of the data that just got added from the add light. And I say light is equal to new light. And I say if it's animated, go ahead and animate it. And I think that's okay because all we've done is add a new light at this point, and we used this thing. And then we say if it's a spotlight, which is still good because we haven't actually updated anything yet. And then we mark it as updated. And then at this point, can we update the light? It seems like we can update the light at this point. What happens in the light service? Okay, so we go and we say, hey, we have a light item, we find it, we say if it's light, do this. Okay, so then we say add the light here too, which I don't think we want to add the light in this guy. And I don't even know if, I don't think we even need the concept of a new light. Okay, so we're going to assume that the light has been added. Remove it from the list. If it's a light and the light type is new from the list. So are we removing it from the list over here? So we remove it from the scene. We don't remove it from the list. This dot lights. Okay, so we take the light item, we update it, and then we remove it from the lights. So that's what's happening over here in the light manager, or the light service. And then we're updating it. Yeah, this is very confusing. Okay, so basically whenever we update the light, we find its actual ThreeJS light. And then if we find it, we check to see if the light type has changed. And if it has, then we mark it as the previous light, and then we filter out the old ThreeJS light from the list of lights. And then we do all this stuff. Okay, that seems okay. I don't know. I might be missing something, but that seems okay. And then over here, we say, hey, if we go to update the light, we go ahead and grab the light from the service. And then we say if we find it and the light times are changed, then we mark the light item as the previous light item. Okay, so we're doing that over here. So do we need, we don't, okay, so who should have that job? It seems like that job belongs to the light service, but so we get our old light and we have to remove it from the scene. That has to happen over here. I want that to happen over here in the ThreeJS side. Okay, does this need to happen over here? I don't think this needs to happen over here. And then Man, I hope I had already committed this. But I guess I can hit Control Z and get out of all of this if I need to. All right, so now we have our old light, and then we remove the old light from the scenes, and then this dot add light dot light item. Okay, this is what creates the new light. Okay, so I don't think that necessarily has to happen in the light service. Creating the new light. Yeah, so we don't actually try to create the new light over here. And then we retrieve the new light. We figure out that the new light is there, and then we update the animation service if it's animated with the new light. Yeah, with the new light. Light is equal to new light. Do I even need this light? I don't think I need this light anymore. I will be shocked if this works. I've got to believe I'm missing something. All right, so then over here I check to see if it's a spotlight. If it's a spotlight and it hasn't been added to the scene, then I add it to the scene. I thought it was added. Oh, I removed that old one from the scene up there. Add it to the scene. So managing the scene is part of the ThreeJS, not part of the light service. So it makes sense that that would do that. And then I mark it as true. And then I deal with the animation stuff. And this is like the problem, right? This is the problem with basically doing the grouping in sort of a half-baked way. This is the problem with not having created the service. Like I said, when you decide, okay, I've created a big bunch of code and now I'm going to start pulling pieces out of the service. If you don't do that soon enough, you can actually get it to where you can get to the point where it's not feasible to pull things out of the service anymore, because you have so much you have dependencies. Dependencies tend to creep up if you don't have this discipline. Like if I had this light service separated out to begin with, this whole thing never would have happened. This whole this deep coupling that I've created in here, and it just seems to be what happens. So let's just see if it works. I don't think I can really tell without having a something for the light to interact with. I'm really just big gulp here because I don't know. My gut tells me that this has a low chance of survival. Okay, and then I need to make this like a 2, and then I need to turn it into a spotlight, and this is where, oh my gosh, I can't believe that worked. Let's go ahead and, nope, it's not working. 2. Yeah, it's not working. And it doesn't surprise me, because, well, that one works. Okay, why isn't angle working? Penumbra 1. Yeah, see, that didn't work. Okay, why did, because they both have intensity, but angle and penumbra are only, so the ones that are specific to spotlights aren't working, but the other ones are. So yeah, we definitely have a problem. So now let's see, was I smart enough to have, no, I was not smart enough to check in my code last time. So I should be able to, though, just Control Z out of this, since this is all I've done today. This is definitely a swing and a miss. I think it's going to be a lot harder to pull this code out. So I wonder why. Control Z. 3JS service. Look at it like this. Hit save. And let's just see if we're back. You know, like I'm kind of relieved because like honestly, like I was clearly right at the edge of just even being able to pull this code out into a service. Like I was literally like like if I had decided, oh, okay, I'm gonna go one more round, I probably would not have been able to. Like I would have just been like, okay, I can't do it. Um, let's see, angle. Okay, so we're back. Um, I still have the stuff that I added into the light service, but that's not going to be, that's no big deal because literally all I did was add this update light. I'm gonna have to come up with a whole new game plan on how to get this update light code moved over. I think what I'm going to be forced to do is try to pull anything that has anything to do with uh, converting anything into a spotlight. I think I'll have to pull anything that I want to keep in this service, in the ThreeJS service. I'm gonna have to pull that into their own functions. Um, so, which is probably what I would have done had I already had stuff in a service. But like, yeah, all this animation stuff, um, then like these can all go into their own little functions, right? Like I could say all of this can just be its own little function, and um, then I can pull. Let's see, and this is when does this happen? Okay, so this only happens if there is a light. So like literally all of this code um, can still exist in this update light um, for the ThreeJS side. And then um, if I pull this, all of this stuff that basically says, hey, if the light type has changed, do this stuff into its own function. And then um, yeah, this stays here. Well, and then yeah, the order. Okay, so this order. So this doesn't matter, right? Like the order of this stuff. Like this can go. I can move this order up before um, this code, this light code, and then this is Spotlight specific code. So if I pull this into its own function, and then basically this is next, and then this code is next, and this basically only deals with handling a conversion from one kind of light to another. And then um, this little piece here, this one little piece has to get separated away from, and really that piece is dependent on this piece up here. And so basically, I'm just gonna have to tease all these pieces apart, and then and then like kind of separate the concerns of anything that is dealing with either like scenes or animations or anything like that. Try to break those down into small pieces as I can, and then and then pull everything else into my light service. Um, and basically, that's going to be what it's going to take to. Um, that's going to have to be like kind of the strategy that I do to make this stuff work. Let's just make sure I haven't actually broken anything. And I definitely need to do a commit before I try the next step. But the one thing that I just like that people just don't understand. Like there is a point where um, when you are trying to break apart, when you have like code in a large set of code, and you decide, oh, okay, I'm just going to break this down into smaller pieces. There's sort of a sweet spot where you can get away with it, um, where you can do it and it's not that big of a deal. And then eventually but it's so hard if you wait too long, because eventually what happens is you end up with some kind of coupling that you just can't feasibly find a good way to work out of. And we're pretty close on this. I think I'm going to be able to figure out how to pull off these things. And in some ways, this is really helping me because it's going to um, bust out this really un this not good um, targeting code, um, this target stuff, and it's going to make me break it out from the code that I want. Like I want this code to probably be around in 10 years, but I do not want this code to be around in 10 years. So separating that stuff out now is going to be very useful to me. Um, but yeah, no, this is a huge learning. Like this is a huge thing. This is a point that is very difficult in an enterprise solution or an enterprise environment when you're saying, "Hey, we need to break this code out now," and they're like, "No, we'll just do it down the road sometime." And you're like, "No, this is going to get harder and harder with time, and this could get to the point where it's just not even possible or feasible to do it." So, the earlier you can break these things out into separate services and stuff, the better. And it's really important to to have that in your head, because logically, like just from a pure logic perspective, linear thinking kind of thing, there's no reason why you can't always just break things out into services and smaller pieces. But practically, it's not true. There is a point where that becomes possible. Uh, you know, and that's this is one of those things where I've really never been able to explain it. Like when I work at places in an environment, and I'm like a senior developer there, and I'm like, kind of going, hey, we've got to break this out. We've got to break this out, and they're like, don't worry about it. We'll do it later. And I'm like, no, we've got to break it out now. And I can never give them a good reason. But this is just a perfect example how like we have for the most part been able to just move things out, move functions out, and easily do that. Um, but at this point, it is not that easy, and it's going to probably take maybe 2 or 3 sessions to actually to tease all the pieces out that need to be teased out. But this is like the very beginnings of like a poison pill that could bring the entire prevent the entire application from ever getting past the point, the proof of concept space area, and never, I might have to, if I don't get this resolved now, I might have to tear this down and start all over again to get to the um, MVP stage, and that will probably add at least 3 or 4 months um, to when I'll be able to, get to MVP. And MVP this is going to be really cool, and I'll be able to build a lot of fun stuff. Once I get to the MVP part, it'll be a lot better. So, that's where I'm at. I'm definitely going to commit this code now and start fresh tomorrow. And this was 35 minutes. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.